So today we're going to jump into, and bear with me, I'm still a little bit fresh to this. There's a few options. You can create a video from a template or from a blank slate, or you can start with a conversational like AI assistant. I'm honestly just going to jump in and kind of piece something together here. So they've got all of these, again, I think like pretty corporate style, which if that's your need, like that's perfect. Templates with existing avatars from their library and graphics and everything like that pre-designed. I'm honestly just going to start from blank, which hilariously is not at all blank. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of everything that's not supposed to be in my blank template. Up at the top here, there's a whole ribbon of menu options. First thing I'm going to do is find my, first thing I'm going to do is click on this hamburger menu here. Today I'm making short social video. So I want it to be vertical orientation. You can switch that. You can do square. You can do like the 4:5 ratio for like a lot of Facebook ads and Instagram ads that they utilize. And you can do like a 5:4 as well. We'll go traditional 9:16, and I'm going to find my avatar. Now, if I've created an avatar, oh dear God, it finished making mine. That's terrifying. I was testing. I was testing
how to do that. Oh.
I was testing trying to make my own, and it told me it was going to be a few days. I am.
You gotta use yours,
happy
Jesse.
with how it imagined my hair.
Oh, Jesse, did we lose you? It looks like it looks like we lost Jesse for a second. Let me reach out to him. Give me 1 second.
Oh God, it added me. That's why. Look what it did to my hair. That's how it envisioned my hair.
I think we might have lost you for a couple minutes there, Jesse.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, I was having some maybe that's why I was having technical trouble with the platform too. Okay, so I'm going to choose this avatar. Actually, you know what? I want to choose one with a scene. So some of these have like transparent backgrounds. I'm going to be honest with you. When I was playing with it with the transparent backgrounds, it did not do a nice job of like softening edges and layering them into the background that it placed. So I'm actually just going to use one that already has a background. So you select your avatar, you can place them, scale it. I'm going to scale her up to fill the frame. And we can give it a script as well. So down here, you can enter, write or paste your script in. I've given just a short one about using AI avatars. And there's a little bit of tweaking you can do. You can change the background. You can add captions. You can add additional media. You can add music. We don't really need to explore a lot of that today because that's just kind of like dressing. It's not really getting to the core of like, does this avatar hold up? So we'll hit generate on that. Now, as you see here, it says generate in 21 minutes. So I'm not actually going to send it because I did this earlier and I have it ready to come out of the oven. Because I can't imagine a less engaging show than you guys watching that spin for 21 minutes.
Half an hour. Yeah.
So, so this is the version that we created earlier. Now, don't mind the playback with like the letterbox. Oh, sorry, I'm not on the right tab. Here we go. This is the version I created earlier. Don't mind the letterbox. It actually, when you download it, did create a vertical video. It's just for whatever reason, their native playback still keeps it in a horizontal ratio or dimension. So here we go. I'm going to play it.
You know, video sells. You also hate being on camera. Here's the new option. Build an AI avatar. Not a clone of you. A presenter you create from scratch. Pick the look, pick the voice, give them a name. Then put them to work. Course lessons, reels, welcome videos, sales pages. You write the script, they show up and deliver. No studio, no filming day, no bad hair Tuesday. Just video that actually ships.
Is it too bold to say I hated it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there. So it's really interesting. Like, I think, and I'll say this, like, I about a year ago, I was testing some like the early versions of these like AI avatars, and it was like comical how just like unusable they were.
Completely unsynced audio.
Oh my gosh, and just like unnatural movements.
Yeah, like your head spinning 360 degrees around. That's sort of
just slowly rotating in place like a Chucky doll. So having come from seeing it back then, like, okay, it's made progress, right? It's better than maybe a year ago. One of the things that I can't figure out why they still haven't figured this out is like the AI avatar never breaks eye contact. Like it never looks away. It never, and like watch this show, like you and I can't maintain eye contact throughout the entire show. It's unnatural.
Yeah, you have to be a psychopath to be able to just constantly maintain.
And that's kind of like, I think that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from her, right? So like the lip syncing is better than it used to be. Then the hand motions that are more natural. The lack of breaking eye contact and like the fact that the heads don't really move a lot. And frankly, like another thing I noticed about Synthesia is like they're almost all like square to camera. Which again, like maybe if you're in like presenter mode or like corporate mode, that might be more the case. But as you're going to see with the HeyGen tool, like that I think is a little bit more creatory focused. You get a little bit more variety in kind of terms of those scenes.
Well, and I made a video too that probably isn't even worth playing. Maybe I'll just play the first like couple seconds of it. This is also with Synthesia. And I gave it a really vague prompt asking it to like promote the shift, but like just take a look at this for a second because I want to talk about something afterwards.
Yeah. The tool you can leverage today. Imagine transforming your business operations with AI-driven insights. The Shift AI show breaks down
Okay, so that's all I want to show you about that, because I saw Robin's comment about being easily impressed and asking if it gets better. My comment about me hating it, wasn't about the quality, because it looks remarkably like a person, like a real person saying real words, and the voice doesn't even sound that bad. Like if you listen to the 11 Labs demo, like
they're using 11 Labs models for the voices.
Yeah. But even in the demo, I was going to say, like the demo that you walked us through in 11 Labs was just, it sounded way better. But this sounds good. Like it sounds good and it looks good. But the problem that I have is for most of us who are in small businesses or who are creators, I don't think this is helpful for most of our use cases. So like this video, what I was trying to see is, could I get a digital avatar with minimal prompting to put together a video that did a good job of promoting the shift, this video that you're watching right now? And I don't think it does that, because like it's so personality driven. It's me and Jesse talking about things. And that's not the case for everything, but like for a lot of our businesses, like and have a passion for what you do that an avatar is not going to be able to replicate. So when I say I hated it, it's like I hated it for specific use cases where authenticity is really important. So like Synthesia, one of their big markets that they're targeting is corporate training. Because if you have a bunch of people who are forced into a room and have to learn something, then you can give them like least common denominator stuff,
Yeah, then your only variable is cost effectiveness.
Yes.
Right? Or time investment.
Yeah.
And for those cases, it's great. Now, I suspect our audience of creators and small business owners and entrepreneurs are not creating a ton of corporate training videos. So like probably not the tool or the platform I would start with. I do want to say, can you I do feel like you got like some eye movement on yours at the beginning there. And I don't know if I was just, maybe wistfully envisioning
AI
it.
isn't just for tech giants. It's a
ahead.
tool you can leverage
Straight
today.
ahead.
Imagine transforming your business
started off
operations with
the side, like,
AI-driven insights.
It was
The
almost a
Shift
little
AI
like
show breaks down
more
complex AI
unnatural.
concepts into actionable steps for small
a weird
businesses.
little eye dart, but
glitch.
Join live demo.
Papa Pete's asked, "Can you prompt the breaking eye contact and other natural stuff?" Very possible. It's a good question. Maybe we could try that and let it run.
Yeah, I'll set this in the back. So you do have control over like things happening. This is like content moving on the screen.
Yes.
But let's try this.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can I? I don't know if this is going to work, but I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, we'll let it run and see while we move on. But I will say, even if this works, like I think that speaks to like the ability to control the outcome. But I also, like, if I'm going to use this, I don't want to have to prompt every time I want it to look away, or I want, you know what I mean? Like, I just want it to produce a very natural feeling avatar.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that would.
But what, I mean, maybe this makes sense to talk about once we walk through HeyGen, but I do think we should talk about where this is potentially really useful more. Like you mentioned localization, that's a really big one. Like if you want to localize your content to other language speakers and you can't speak naturally in that language, this is probably a better way than you pulling up Google Translate and trying to recite it on screen, you know?
Yes. Yeah. So absolutely. I think that was kind of the point of the top too, is like, if these platforms were just like total garbage, we'd put that in the email and let you know.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to make you sit through a demo just to be like, and that was worthless. There are good uses for any of these. And y'all kind of have to decide where that is. I do think, especially just to reiterate what Chris was saying, like, I would, as a consumer of like a small business or a creator's products or whatever, or content, I would prefer an unvarnished you to a eerily perfect avatar, you know, in most cases. We were just having a conversation about this with some, with internally, we're having conversations around content about this, like about, you know, unpolished, but authentic often beats highly polished and authentic.
Yeah. Yeah. So like thinking about places where this might be useful, you can think about like, where is like information transfer the primary goal? So if you have a knowledge base of frequently asked questions and you wanted to use an avatar to create video versions of those frequently asked questions, and you have a lot of them, and it just wouldn't be economic for you to spend or you don't feel comfortable spending your time creating all those videos, this could be a really useful tool for that. So when people are looking to get questions answered and there's already a written version, but they prefer to consume video instead, that could be a really good use of this. But I think if you're trying to sell and communicate your brand in any meaningful way, if you're trying to, especially if you're a solopreneur and your brand is really you, I wouldn't necessarily rely too heavily on tools like Synthesia. And maybe HeyGen is going to convince me that I'm wrong there, but
I think it's well, let's see. Yeah, I'm not gonna cede any bias here. Jumping over to HeyGen, we're here on the dash. Immediately feels a little bit more like SaaS product. Immediately, I don't feel like this is purely for like enterprise scale use. Right, it's a lot more playful. Again, you have a whole world of things. Some of the same tools. The ability to upload a PowerPoint or PDF and turn it into a video, to conversationally generate a video from a prompt, localization, that translation. You can create your own avatar and you can build scene by scene. So we're going to jump into building scene by scene. And I have one here that I defaulted to. This is an avatar, but they have, you know, a whole library of, well, that's all Sophia's different looks actually, but there is,
while you're looking for this, the one thing I liked about Synthesia is you could like change their outfit, and you could write a prompt for a new outfit. So in mine about the shift, I was like, wear a futuristic cyberpunk outfit. It didn't completely get what I was going for, but
yeah. And I played with that with one of them too, and you can and it'll show you like an image preview of like what that's going to look like before you go and use it and generate a whole video and stuff. So definitely some more control over it there. Again, the problem for me is like when you're still getting that kind of like static square to camera, like that's like a fun to have, but I don't think it fixes some of the flaws in it for me. Again, like if it just like we were talking about, like being able to prompt like eye contact or lack of eye contact, things like that. I don't necessarily want to have to. And I think so, like with HeyGen, I feel like some of these begin in a better place. They've got, you know, kind of the person on the street interview look. They've got somebody leaning on their the postures, the scenes. They're definitely more creatory, less corporate. They're a little bit more natural right off the bat. And there's still, you know, some of the same kind of looks that Synthesia had. So you can choose from all kinds of avatars. I have Sophia here in a podcast studio with kind of like cool, vibrant, you know, colors. I felt like it matched like our kind of vibe, so we're going to go with that. You can choose a voice. You can select which voice engine you want. You can do this in Synthesia too. They both utilize 11 Labs, which I think we kind of came away with that 11 Labs versus noise. And it was just like 11 Labs was just doing their models did a better job of producing like good voiceovers. It makes sense why you're seeing that they're models in a lot of these other platforms. You have control over accents, tone of voice. We're going confident career coach here. And you have a little bit of control over the backgrounds and things like that. So same thing. I actually already gave it the exact same script as the other one. And we'll just jump over to that end result and save you a few minutes. I will say with HeyGen, it, you know, where Synthesia was often saying like, we'll generate this in 10 minutes, in 15 minutes, in 20. And I imagine some of that is based on like current demand and usage of the platform. But HeyGen was generating in probably about half the time that Synthesia was. So let's watch what HeyGen put together.
You know video sells. You also hate being on camera. Here's the new option. Build an AI avatar. Not a clone of you, a presenter you create from scratch. Pick the look, pick the voice, give them a name. Then put them to work. Course lessons, reels, welcome videos, sales pages. You write the script, they show up and deliver. No studio, no filming day, no bad hair Tuesday, just video that actually ships.
What do you think?
I mean,
you know video sells. You also...
Sorry, I didn't mean to play that again.
I feel like it feels maybe a little more emotive and human, like, and who knows, and I guess you didn't give it a different prompt. You just gave it a script. Maybe the avatar itself has a different prompt. I don't really, it does feel more human.
I did it. You know? Yeah, I did it with a few on here. I will say it felt more natural. So like for me, it was like if I was in a use case, if I had a use case where I was gonna use an avatar persona, I think I would be going with HeyGen because I think it produced a more natural result. I could still pick it apart for AI. You know, sometimes the teeth get a little weird if you look really close. The head movements seemed repetitive. You know, while natural, the repetition of the same movement felt a little unnatural. But I do think the end result for me, and I think most like creator, small business, entrepreneur usage, it felt a lot more, a lot closer to something that would be ready to use. I
agree with you. It's less corporate training, more social media ad. That's the way I think about it. You know,
absolutely. And it's interesting too, because I mean, and we said this already a little bit, but I still. We said this during the pre-show, and we probably shouldn't have had the conversation and wasted it. But we like there's still a part of me that's like, for most use cases, most businesses, I don't care if it's a course creator who, you know, teaches how to do design, or if it's a local bike shop owner. I'm personally going to be much more interested and engaged with it. It could be you walking your dog, filming yourself, delivering the content that you want to deliver. It could be you standing on your balcony. I actually thought of Robin, who does real estate in Rocky Point, Mexico. And I've seen in some of the photos she sent, has this amazing view of the ocean and, like, or the bay or whichever it is there. And it's like, I would still almost rather just somebody, out there producing organic content on the fly. That's not time consuming. That doesn't have to be like edited down. It's not like you're filming content. Now you've got to spend hours cutting it. Just a one take, like, I still think that we're at a point where that's better. But that said, there are people who are just going to want, whether it's because of bandwidth or it's because of not wanting to be on camera, to utilize these things. And for me, if that's you and that's your case, in terms of avatars, I feel like HeyGen's ahead of Synthesia right now.
Just from these two videos, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it,
obviously, to play a lot more.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to who had made the TJ Walters had that question about, can you prompt to change the way that they look? I think at the surface level, dropping a script in, picking an avatar, HeyGen's looked better. Yes. But like, I don't know, does one have better tools for actually prompting a scene? I'm poking around Synthesia, and it's not immediately obvious to me how to do it. But if you go back, I want to show you what it did. It finished generating our video. So let's see. If you remember, I put in the script, look off to the side. So let's watch and see how it did.
AI isn't just for tech giants. It's a tool you can leverage today. Imagine transforming your business operations with AI-driven insights. Avatar looks off to the side. The Shift AI show.
So that isn't the way to give it direction, to just put it in the script. So I think I'd have to dig a little deeper to figure out how you could give direction to the avatar.
And I imagine some of that ability is there. I think part of the reason I didn't want to get that time intensive because I think one of the big values of these is the time savings, and the more you have to like detail prompt every little bit and train it and stuff like that, the less valuable it becomes in terms of saving that time.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say, I do feel like your Synthesia avatar here was a lot more natural. She had some more natural head movements in the beginning than the result that I produced in Synthesia. So maybe not all quite as stoic as what I got. I actually thought yours here was a lot closer, minus, not getting the prompt. I actually, one of the first ones I gave it this week when I was playing with it had time code in it. So in the script, it was like 0 to 3 seconds or whatever. And the first generation I did, the avatar just started going 00:00-00:003
that's great.
and started reading the time code. And it took me a minute to realize what was going on. Are you changing outfits here?
I'm just going to try and add a cool cyberpunk visor. But this is going to take a while. It's not worth waiting for.
Visor. I love it. Well, if we get a good result, we'll throw it in the email. Yeah. So, I mean, look, not everything we showcase here is going to be like, this is amazing, it's going to change your life. I think like most AI tools right now, there's good uses. There are there's absolute value in repurposing content. Like if you put up any video content, I would hands down say, pick one of these tools. I don't think it matters super much which one, and localize your content. Yeah. Translate it into the top 10 languages in the world, whatever. Like to me, that's just like a no-brainer. Making it more accessible to people. And we've had people on the show here and in other things asking if we can produce, localized versions, whether that's with subtitles or in this case, you can actually do voiceover. That is not a visor. Well, I guess it's
that's
a visor.
Actually
I was picturing like a hat visor when you said it. I was not thinking of like.
I kind of love that.
Wow.
And it is cool. You can just go in here then and like change the version.
Yep.
So if I just want some of these to have visors, I can do that, and it'll regenerate for me. And I know, personally, I've been talking a lot of smack on this on these tools. I think they are useful for what they are, but the real thing that Jesse mentioned earlier when he was like playing with these tools a couple of years ago is that video is getting so much better, scarily so. And I saw this thing on Twitter that is like the progression of AI, or progression of in AI of Will Smith eating spaghetti. This is like the benchmark for how AI generation is going. Like this was it back in 2023. Just kind of monstrous. And then in 2024, he starts to look more like a human, but still way off. 2025, that is like, you can tell that
that's a scary leap. That's a scary leap right there. 24 to 25.
Yeah, here's where basically we are now, where it's like two people in a space that looks reasonably like a real space, interacting with each other like they would be,
having a conversation. Yeah. It's cinematic.
At a table.
It's like beautifully framed and shot.
So like this is a funny way to look at it, but
yeah,
but it's just kind of wild to see how far this video technology has come in just a couple years. And Boris Cherny, who's behind the tool Claude Code, he and basically everybody at Anthropic, they talk about how they have this, I'm going to switch off of that back to here. They have this internal way of thinking about using AI tools, which is like build and design for what's going to be possible 6 months from now. So if models can't do exactly what you're thinking of right now, like so far at least, they've been progressing at a way that within 6 months, they can generally do the thing that we wish they could do in this moment here and now. And then we'll get to that 6 months from now, it'll be doing that thing and we'll want something else. And we should keep designing our intentions and our processes ahead, expecting that the models will get better. And eventually we're going to cap out. But right now, I don't think we're anywhere near capped out on quality.
Yeah. A couple of questions that we just got there. TJ asked, are there any grandpa type avatars in either app?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me.
Here, I have this pulled up too. Like you can kind of see the. I'll zoom a little bit. You can see that there's this whole kind of library of
really whole range of background, age, gender, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, different styles of folks. And again, like if you find somebody you like, you can change their outfit to better match like what you're like. Let's take a look at George. Oh, I'm on the free.
Sorry, I just pulled off your screen there. I'm jumping all over the
place.
No, you
here. Go for it. I'm on.
I was just gonna say same thing in HeyGen. There's a whole range of people.
Yeah. I saw Robin's questions. Do you know if these two platforms will allow celebrities? ChatGPT does not allow. So this is something that I feel pretty strongly about, is that, well, first of all, I doubt that these tools would let you put celebrities in your videos. And my personal view on this is that is a bad idea, and just also not a good thing to be doing, is to be creating reproductions of people without their consent. You'll see that most of these tools like ChatGPT won't let you do that because it's icky from my point of view. And also it's kind of a legal gray area. And you don't want to end up, the platforms don't want to get in trouble for this, obviously. And you don't want to end up being on the hook for producing something that used someone else's intellectual property or like personal performance rights or anything like that.
Yeah, I've actually seen a iteration of Synthesia that somebody produced that did allow for a celebrity recreation. So all the more reason to just like use ethically. I could not state clearly enough. And to Robin's point, it takes away your credibility, because all you're communicating by doing that is either giving the impression that you were given permission to partner with them or use them, or just making it very clear that you didn't, because it's one of the other.
It's like, I don't know Kylie Jenner. There's no way Kylie Jenner's going to work with me on this thing.
Yeah. So, but also just, I mean, I think that's one of those things with AI where, like, as these tools get better with the voice cloning and these avatars, cannot state clearly enough. Like I'm very pro like ethical use of this stuff, and just like I said too, like I would rather like unpolished and authentic than you know celebrity recreation and inauthentic.
Same.
And I love seeing Papa Pete said my customers wouldn't care about AI versus natural for 15-second product video. I love today's session. That's awesome. Then this is probably already where you need it to be in terms of being able to do that. And that's awesome. That's great. Cool. Any other questions or thoughts on that before we jump into the mailbag, Chris?
No, cool one. I can't wait to play around with this a little more. We got one more question that I think is interesting about the avatar tools from Mr. TJ Walters. Are there any style settings for the avatars like educator, product advocate, etc.? So a neat thing about this kind of a two parts as far as I understand these. The first is that they do have different voices, which do have different like levels of emotion. So the voice I have is Hope, which is calm. So you can hear this. Come on, Hope.
AI isn't just for tech giants. It's a tool you can.
So that's Hope. But then let's say we want to take customer service.
AI isn't just for tech giants. It's a tool you can leverage today.
Yeah, that did definitely sound like a customer service bot. Or let's find one more, an encouraging one.
AI isn't just for tech giants. It's a tool you can leverage today.
So you can get some like variance in style just from the voice you use. The other thing that's kind of neat, and Jesse showed you this in HeyGen, but when you go to create a new video, you can pick from templates that do have differences in style. So like when I first signed up for Synthesia, it walked me through this onboarding process that asking me who I was and what I wanted to use it for. And then at the end of it, I told it I was in product management. I wanted to use it primarily for product education. So it gave me like 5 starter templates. Did I want to do a product demo? Did I want to do an FAQ? A couple other things. And it kind of set me up for that. Now, just looking at this, there are some interesting ones here because in this case, this avatar is looking at a 3/4 angle, not straight ahead. So I do think like there's likely opportunity for us to solve some of the issues that we saw when we were digging through this.
Yeah. Pete also asked, will either of these allow you to download a still image, or I assume upload a still image of yourself to use as the avatar? I haven't played with that in HeyGen. There is an option to upload an image to create a look, but I don't know if it actually makes you the avatar or if it just uses it as inspiration for creating an avatar. I might be able to answer that depending on how long it takes in real time here. But I know in Synthesia, yes, you can create an avatar from yourself.
So here we go. Like create avatar.
I accidentally previewed what it had made of me earlier. But yeah, I would love both Robin and Pete. I'd love if you try that. I would love to shoot us in a note at aweber.com/shift and let us know like the results and how that worked for you. I know that it takes a little bit longer to build, but it may be that is like exactly what you need. Or it may be that it's like so unusable that it's laughable, and we'd love to see that too. Yeah, let me see here. So
yeah, you want to show your screen, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm pulling that up now. Interesting. I mean, it's taking my photo and it's letting me use it. So I assume it's going to try to animate, let's see if I can do a really short one. That's probably going to take way too long, but maybe I'll share that if it ends up being any kind of useful output. But like I would love it if any of y'all here watching, if you try it too. Yeah, I would love to know what results you saw. Also, I'd love your feedback. This is one of those, like, I think I hope accurately pointed out like good and bad in all platforms that we've been demoing throughout the show. But I think this is one of the first ones where I really was like, I gotta like really think how I would use this. You know, I'm not totally sure that I would find use in this.